Again, think about your glaze combination, think about color combination. You have the color wheel up in the front. All right, so see how little I have, okay? Always I can add more. Don't waste this glaze. This is one of the glazes that is fairly expensive. Again, wet your paintbrush before beginning. Obviously you want to dry it off a little bit so that the glaze can soak up into the brush. So I want to emphasize the details on his shell, okay? So I'm going to start off with the lighter colors. And you can act, like I said, you can kind of work with this as far as like using, basically you're overlapping. So I'm just kind of dabbing the glaze on. And this is on the brown, so I don't really know what the reaction is going to be. I know what it will be on the black. So I'm going to add a little green, the darker green, kind of put that in there. So like I said, what's cool about this is that you can kind of blend, you can kind of, you know, build the colors up. So this is going to be filled, this is going to be high gloss glaze, okay? So don't ever be afraid like you need to, and because my palette is on the plate, that's what's cool about this, because then I can blend my colors. So I need a little bit of more of the aqua. I'm going to do aqua with yellow, kind of overlap them, do the trim of his shell. And again, it's just like painting, you know, don't be afraid. These Mayalica glazes, stroke and coats are really cool, because again, they're just like, painting with paint. Now, obviously you're watching me mix these two colors. This is why I said don't use too much. Don't waste too much, because we can't return these back to the bottles once you mix them, okay? If you know that you're going to be using this again, then like whatever little paper towel you have, if you want, you can bring a little Tupperware container in and kind of keep your colors that you're using, so that you can continue, so you're not wasting. So again, I'm just kind of dabbing the glaze on, and it's going to cover it. If you go a little bit out of your lines, that's okay. You can kind of paint it in if you want. So as you can see, I'm kind of painting around his flipper. And then I'm going to go in to have his design a little bit more in detail. I'm going to add a little bit of color here. Alright, maybe grab some yellow. And again, I'm just going to dab in here. And don't, like I said, don't be afraid to not scribble, like just load paint on like some of you guys have in your coil pots where you painted the whole pot and then you took another glaze and just painted over the entire thing. That's wasting glaze. You're actually just kind of painting your picture in. Do you have to do this? No. Some people like to do it. So here's in close-up, so you can see like the value changes and like how I've created a shadow towards the bottom. You can still see the screen print on it, okay? So I'm gonna go in here and I want to kind of fill this whole section out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get, I would like a little bit of blue. So I'm going to use the blue family because obviously it's in the same area of the wheel with yellow, because yellow and blue make green. So again, small portions. You can always come back and do more, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you as far as like the base of it, where I wanna go with this. I don't really technically want to paint, I want to sponge on the colors because it kind of gives a really cool effect. And I wanna create like a value change blend thing going on. This is dry, okay? This is the little sponge with the handle. So you're gonna wet it, just squeeze it out, don't twist it. And just kind of dab on your paper towels so you can get most of the moisture out, because you don't want the moisture to affect your glaze, but you want the glaze to go into your sponge. So I'm gonna start off with the lighter. So I'm gonna dab that, and again, obviously sponges pull more. I'm gonna do a little bit of blue. Darker blue. So again, you can see what I'm doing here. See? I'm blending my colors. And literally it creates this really cool effect. So again, I'm gonna go in and you can see, I'm gonna go in and just kind of sponge on. And you can do this with a big paintbrush too. I particularly like to use little sponges because it kind of gives this really cool effect. And I'm going over my screen print because I want the blue over the top of it. So I need a little bit more lighter blue. And I'm gonna check where my colors are. And obviously the lighter area is over here. So I'm gonna keep the darker color facing down. So I'm moving up, and because I want the darker area towards the bottom. And when you get closer to your little figure that you're doing, you can take a paintbrush and paint around it if you want. I kind of overlap it a little bit with my glaze because I like that effect. And I will show you when I'm done with this side a piece that I've actually finished. And just like any glaze, it's gonna end up drying. So if I want this a little bit darker down here, I'll do that. So you can see, like, if someone's going towards like a nautical theme, it's technically not really, but I like the color combinations. Again, I need a little bit more lighter, and I think what would look cool is if I'm gonna go from dark to light as well. So the lights are meeting in the middle to emphasize the turtle. So again, a little dark on one side, light on the other side. And again, I'm kind of messing around on the plate to create this effect. Again, darker side up, overlapping my screen print. Okay. And it's okay if you go over your little turtle. I'm gonna kind of cast a darker shadow into my turtle. So as what you're watching is, obviously the more layers you go, the higher the gloss, but this is, like I said, this is a cool technique because you can use these glazes like paint. And it creates, you know, a whole another dimension of glazing. So those of you who keep saying, I can't paint, I can't do ceramics, yes you can. You know, this is like a no-brainer. Literally, I picked a screen print, I transferred it on, and now I'm applying glaze. I mean, that's not difficult to do. So this area right here, this line, I'm actually going to use probably the darker blue to be a lot bolder in that area. I'm gonna make this come down a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna take my paintbrush, clean it out. This might be a little too thick. I'm going to press out the water. So this, like I said, this area I'm going to have be a lot bolder. So I'm going to take my dark blue and emphasize this line. So remember, if you go like 2, 3, then you're good. And again, you can just kind of take the brush and kind of dab. Same thing. All right, so kind of clean this line up a little bit. So then this is what it looks like when you're done, before it's fired. Obviously you take shots of it, and then when it comes out, sometimes it's a surprise. So when I was at my conference, I did a hummingbird tile. So this is what it looks like. The berries are screen prints, the hummingbird's a screen print. I took the paintbrushes and blended dark and light green. I have blueberries and raspberries and blackberries, so I combined a couple colors. I added dark blue with some purple, and that's what I ended up with. And then I took like the cantaloupe color with some red and sponged it on. And notice, see, I went over the berries and I went around my hummingbird, and this is the result, what you'll get. So, and in here, like this area right here is, I had multiple, probably 3 layers or so, but it's literally the whole tile is high gloss, and you can see that. So don't be afraid, don't put too much on, because you're creating a picture on your piece. So this is what you want to go out with, okay? So your first step is screen printing, and then the other part will be doing your glazing, and that you'll do at your table.